What are some strategies we can use to build our skills in balance and stability? Now, in a moment, I'll briefly introduce you to Tai Chi if you're not already familiar with it. And the reason I'm doing that is because as an individual movement practice, it explicitly demonstrates the concept of dynamic balance. So very useful in terms of learning balance and talking about it, and some great drills can be extracted from it to help you do any other sport or any other martial arts. Yoga is a practice that's been around for thousands of years, experimenting with human movement, balance, and stability. Qigong and Tai Chi are two derivative health practices that we're going to take a quick look at, as they have a very strong emphasis on harmonizing with your balance point dynamically through motion. Yoga as a practice is meant to serve the purpose of uniting the mind, body, and spirit. Now, there's a huge number of sub-variations and categories of both yoga and internal martial arts. Most of these have tremendous health value to offer, but we're just going to discuss Tai Chi briefly.
What is Tai Chi? It's a very good combination of the physical movement and inner peace and tranquility. Tai Chi itself is a philosophical term. In Chinese character, one more dot than da, than big. So it means very big, supreme. Ji in here means principle. So Tai Chi can mean a supreme principle, or it's very similar to the way talked of by Lao Tzu. So this is the great way, the universal law. It's not merely a form of a physical movement. So this is something combined internally and externally. A good balance of body and mind.
The practice of balance and controlling your center or your center of mass is deeply embedded in Tai Chi. When practicing Tai Chi, you spend a lot of your time developing this ability to shift your weight gracefully, but also with a great degree of control, from one base of support to two bases of support, forwards, backwards, twisting. It's about really getting in tune with your body and your center of mass and your balance, and how that flows in movement, how changing the shape of your body and your form influences your center of mass, how to position your feet to create different bases of support, how to position your body and your form to keep your balance point, your center of mass, in a fluid, harmonious state that you remain in balance. From my personal experience studying and practicing Tai Chi, it seems to be about developing a harmonious flow, a dynamic dance or balance to control movement energy. It's a beautiful practice. The reason I've included Tai Chi in this video is because it explicitly embodies the concepts of balance and stability. Even just watching the practitioner for a moment, you can see him playing and dancing with these concepts, developing his intuitive body connection. Using the principles of balance and stability, we are now going to discuss stances in martial arts. Talking about balance and stability, this is an excellent time to start talking about stances. When you practice stances, you are creating a mental map of possible body positions. You are training your body's functional mobility by developing the attributes and skills necessary to hold positions as well as transition from them. You are identifying structural strengths and weaknesses of each position, and you are trying to understand their utility. You are internally cataloging the inherent balance, stability, and weight transfer limitations of each position, as well as their transitional movement potential. You're learning how to move. So training stances is a way to develop movement understanding. It's a very structured way to teach movement. The theory helps you understand the commonalities between things. It helps you establish patterns. When you can see the patterns, you can use that knowledge to learn new skills much faster. The point that I'm trying to make is once you understand the framework and you start to understand the relationship between the points of the framework, it gives you intuition. You can start being creative and adaptive. Just like one stance is a dot, When you understand 30 stances, you have all these dots that you can connect to, a framework. Once you understand how to transition between those stances and you understand the relationship between them and how movement moves between them and the strengths and weaknesses between them, you become a much more informed and educated mover. And this starts to give you the ability to complex problem solve and move in ways that you would otherwise not have the competence to do so. Alright, so in closing of this point, stances are very useful learning and teaching aids, but they need to be taught in conjunction with fundamentals of human movement and the context of the relationship they have with one another.